All right, let's identify the type of problem we're working with here. First off, do I have any common factors? No common factors in all three of these. I got 3x squared minus 13xy plus 4y squared. I do not have any common factors. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what type of problem am I dealing with. I've got a trinomial. It's got three terms, okay? And we look at a. Our a this time is 3. That's greater than 1. So we're going to have to do either guess and check or grouping. I'm going to do both, but you can just pick which one you want to do. Okay. So you do not have to do both. You just choose which way you want to do it. I'm trying to do these thoroughly so you can see different ways of doing it. So I'm going to do parentheses here, parentheses. Okay. Give myself room to do grouping. Now, when I do guess and check, I write two sets of parentheses, factor the first term and place those terms in the parentheses. So 3x squared. So I got to ask myself, what times what gives me 3x squared? Well, what times what gives me 3? 3x and 1x. So 3x and 1x. Okay. So 3x times 1x is 3x squared. All right. And that's the only way I could get there. Now, I could put x first and 3x second. It doesn't matter. Now, next, I'm going to determine the signs that need to be placed in here. If the last sign's a negative, you have one plus, one positive, and one negative. If the last sign's a positive, your two signs are going to be the same as the middle term. So my last sign's a positive. So that means both of my signs are going to be the same as the middle term. The middle term is negative. So I'm going to have two negatives there. Okay. Next, I got to see what multiplies to 4y squared. So what multiplies to 4y squared? What multiplies to 4? Well, I've got 4y and 1y. I've got 2y and 2y. So I've got to ask myself, which one do I use? I'm going to guess. Let's say I tried 2y and 2y. Okay, let's try that. I'm just guessing. I don't know if I'm right. I'm going to multiply the inners. So negative 2y times x is negative 2xy. When I'm multiplying multiple letters together, I just put them in alphabetical order. 3x times negative 2y is negative 6xy. Does that add to negative 13? No. So I guessed wrong. So when we guess wrong, we're going to have to switch something. Now, the only thing I really think I could, there's a couple things I could switch. I could switch to 3 and 1, but that's not going to do me any good because those two are the same. What I need to do is I need to get the 4 and 1 in here. So I'm going to switch this. Now you could start working ahead. I've got to add to negative 13. So I need to add to negative 13. But what if I put the 4y here and the 1y there? Okay, and I'll show you what I'm thinking here. Negative 1y times x is negative 1xy. 3x times negative 4y is negative 12xy. Okay, I was thinking ahead. I know I need to multiply something with the 3 and something with the 1. So whatever I do over here is going with the 3x. Whatever I'm putting here goes with the 1x. And so I notice as you do this more, you'll start thinking ahead to where you need to go. Negative 13xy, negative 1xy plus negative 12xy is negative 13xy. So this has got to be my answer. Okay. So how do I do this by grouping? Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to multiply the first and the last terms together. So 3x squared times 4y squared. 3 times 4 is 12. X squared, y squared. Okay. Next, I need to take, multiply. Now, they take two terms that would, I'm going to make a little t-chart here. I need to make two terms that would sum to the middle. So let's think about this. I've got to multiply to 12x squared y squared, but I got to add to negative 13. How do you multiply to a positive but add to a negative? You need two negatives. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative plus a negative is a negative, okay? So you got to think, what multiplies to 12 and adds to negative 13? Well, what about negative 12 and negative 1? Now we also got to deal with the letters. It's xy. I'm going to take, it's x squared, y squared here. So I'm going to put xy here and xy here, and I'll explain why. Negative 12xy times negative 1xy. Negative 12 times negative 1 is positive 12. xy times xy would be x squared, y squared. So that takes care of that, okay? And then negative 12xy plus negative 1xy adds negative 13xy. So I'm going to rewrite this whole expression here, but in the middle, instead of putting negative 13xy, I'm going to put negative 12xy minus 1xy, okay? So 3x squared minus 12xy minus 1xy plus 4y squared. Okay, so I've got 4 terms. I'm going to factor by grouping. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to have a plus sign in the middle. So I'll put plus negative 1xy. And now I'm going to put parentheses on the first 2 terms, parentheses on the last 2 terms. Okay. What's 3x squared and 12xy have in common? Well, what's 3 and 12 have in common? 3. What's x squared and xy have in common? They have x. So I'm going to take out 3x. And when you take it out, you're dividing each of these by 3x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. I have 2 x's. I take out 1, so 1's left. 12 divided by 3 is 4. I had xy. I took an x out, so y is left. Now remember, when your leading term here is negative, you've got to take out a negative, okay? So I'm going to take out a negative. What's 1xy and 4y squared have in common? Well, number-wise, it'd just be 1, but xy and y squared would just be y. Okay? So then I'm going to do divide by negative y, so the x. Negative divided by negative is positive, so, and then you took out y, so the x. 4 divided by negative 1, negative 4. I had 2 y's, took 1 out, so 1's left. And so I look and see, do I have the common binomial factor here? I do, so I'm going to factor that out. When I factor that out, I'm left with 3x minus y. That's my answer. Notice it's just the same as that. So you don't have to do both ways, but you're welcome to just pick whatever way you like.